him. I mean, Comic-Con was an incredible experience.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
Was that your first one?
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, when Primal first came out and they premiered it, I drove down there and just kind of like went in, watched it on the big screen, and then left. So it wasn't like an actual Comic-Con experience, but Genndy, we were all there, and it was, I mean, it was cool because it was like I just got to be there by myself. In terms, I don't mean by myself, I just mean like this huge thing was going on, and I was just there. You know what I mean? Like there were like yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I would say that my favorite thing about Genndy, the favorite story I tell about him is a general story. And it is that not anymore, but early on, because I was so green and because I didn't know anything, you're like teaching yourself how to do this like amazing thing in front of one of the greatest fucking animators to ever live.
Yes.
But I didn't know, but at the time I was just kind of like, you know what I mean? I was just like doing whatever I thought I should do.
Yeah.
So I think now I would be a lot more intimidated. I think at the time you're just kind of, luckily I was very lucky in that I could just be like, I want to be Pluto for you. You know what I mean? Like, but sorry.
Oh, you're perfectly fine.
To get to the story, whenever I would be done with a recording session with him, I always would leave and I would go, it was like I just went on a date with a girl that's really out of my league. I had fun. I think she had fun. Not that Genndy's a shit, but you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Like it's like,
yes.
Because he was always, because Genndy is just like that, like just kind of like, yeah, man, that was great.
Yeah.
And for like such an insecure actor, you kind of, it gives you that kind of like, okay. You know what I mean? And so it was just so funny that like that was such a memorable experience because it let me just kind of develop. It's not like Genndy, and it's so cool. He just kind of doesn't say like, okay, Aaron, you're on a horse. Okay. And then, you know what I mean? He just kind of either shows me or tells me very simply. And I'm there for a reason. And I don't know. Sorry, that's not even a Genndy story. That's just an overall, like, something that is the most memorable thing about him is that, you know, in a business or just in a world of a lot of pomp and circumstance and just people kind of, I don't know, genuine personalities where it's like, I am doing this thing and this is what you're helping. This is how you're helping me do this thing. It was nice to see you. I'll see you again, maybe. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay. You know, but over these years, it's been a lucky, but also I just get to keep coming back. Sorry if I seem terminally bewildered, but I mean, that's the truth of it.
No, it's perfectly fine, man. I really appreciate you getting to explain your experience. I really enjoy that, man. And what I like about questions like, hey, man, what was your experience with Genndy? Everybody's got something different, right? From Robert Alvarez, a guy that's been in the animation industry 50 plus years. He's a national treasure, man. I tell that. Like, he ushered in the guys like the Gendys, the Craig McCrackens, the Rob Renzettis, you know, the people that changed. They took what Cartoon Network was at that point in time, which was just a place where they bought out the Hanna-Barbera libraries and were just replaying Looney Tunes. And then with the innovation from Betty Cohen, Fred Seibert, Linda Semensky, Mike Lazo, you know, they took what Cartoon Network was then, and then they catapulted it to what it is now. I mean, obviously, if you talk, depending on what side of the fan base you talk to, whether it's folks my age, 30s, they'll say it's complete shit now. If you talk to kids in their 20s, they're like, oh my God, it's the greatest network. So it definitely in flux right now with the HBO merger, with Discover, with Cartoon Network and Warner and all that shit. So it's in this huge uproar. However, the whole point of that is getting to see stories and hear stories from you, like Robert, like Randy, Robert and Zeddy Craig, about working with Genndy. Like I said, it's always fascinating to hear what you guys' personal experiences were. So thank you for sharing that story. I really appreciate that story. So with the show like Primal, like obviously we talked about, you watching it like you're a fan, like us, you're a fan of the show just like we are, man. You want to experience it just like we do. When you got to see it on that big screen at Comic-Con, was there, I think that was during COVID times, or was this before COVID that it premiered
It
it?
was before. Yeah, it was
Okay.
before. I mean, it was before it ever came out. This was like Comic-Con, so that's July. And
2019.
yeah, and then that came out in October. So it was, I mean, it was, yeah, and it was outside, and I'd never been to Comic-Con before, and yeah, I don't know, it was crazy, and it was the experience of just kind of standing there by yourself. I mean, I'm not from here, I'm not, you know what I mean, like, you're something incredible is happening, and you're just kind of experiencing it alone. I don't know why that's profound, even though Genndy we were all there. But I mean, it was just one of the things that was really funny was there was they screened two episodes of it. The first two, the first one in Spear and Fang and River of Snakes. And I thought the first River of Snakes, I really was like kind of like, holy shit. Like, I felt kind of proud of myself in terms of like what I had done or how I had helped out. Just because Spear he does a lot in that one. And sorry, what was funny was everywhere I went, people kept going, "Sir, you can't go here. Sir, you can't go." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." I do the voice of that, and people still do this. They're like, "Well, he doesn't talk." I'm like, "I know he doesn't talk. I know, but he makes the sound. If you watch it, and they're just like, "Sir, you can't." And at one point, I think I remember, maybe I'm sugarcoating this story a little bit, but I think there was just a perfectly nice person that said, we were walking back after the screening was over, Genndy and his family and the producers and our Scott Wills and they're all walking back, and I'm kind of walking with them, and they're like, "Sir, you can't." And I was like, I'm the voice. That the caveman guy, I do the voice. And they were like, "Okay, God." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to, I'm sorry." Oh, it was great. To answer your question, it was great. It was a wonderful, amazing sort of experience. And then also walking back and just kind of talking. I was talking to Genndy, and I kind of just like, I got kind of emotional. I had a moment where it was, I mean, I'm not going to say what I said, but it was just kind of like, it was fucking cool. It was
Yeah.
great. It was
I got
one of
to
the greatest
imagine, man.
things ever.
Now,
Yeah.
when they premiered those two episodes, was there, I got to imagine there was a huge crowd of people that got to see all this?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a few thousand people. Yeah, I mean, because they did it outside. They usually Adult Swim or different. I mean, it was different this year, but they took over the whole sort of outside area outside the convention center, the lawn area, and they had like a big stage or whatever. And yeah, it was great.
What was that like? I mean, now collectively, whenever you go, I'm a huge movie goer. I love, like, going to the movies is my Disney World. I love the pageantry. I love walking in and smelling the popcorn. This is going to sound stupid. I love when I step in gum, even though I hate when I step in gum. Like, that whole process of
Yeah.
going to the movies is super magical. There's something special about, I don't know what it is. I don't know where that got ingrained in my head, but it's just like, you see, it was like a special occasion, especially for us growing up. I mean, it's not like we were dirt poor, but five kids, single mom, it was kind of
Yeah,
difficult for
I know.
all of it, right? So yeah, it was a
Absolutely.
special moment.
Yeah.
So whenever I get to go to the movies, it's a collective experience. You're sitting there, you're laughing with everybody else, like everybody's crying at the same scene or angry at this one character, laughing at the stupidest joke possible. So I got to imagine you performing something that you recorded, and then they went and showed it to thousands of people. What was that experience for you like, specifically sitting in a crowd of people, watching them watch what you guys put together? What was that experience like?
I think I just was just watching it with them,
Yeah.
and and kind of taking it in like they were taking it in, and actually not aware, because I was, just because I mean, I still feel kind of inexperienced, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just because voiceover careers don't really go the way they used to. There's a lot to work, there's a lot of work to be done, but it really just kind of, it's not like, you don't, it's not like Ninja Turtles where you do a show and there's like 20 some odd episodes of it and you're employed. It's kind of like you do a little bit here, you do a little bit there. I mean, Primal's one of the only things that I've ever done that I've got to be in every episode of it.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of was like watching it with everybody. And I think that sort of at the end when Genndy did a little talk, because again, when we work together, he doesn't share with me his like motivations, but you know what I mean? He doesn't need to. We just, I just go, holy shit, that's amazing. And then I try to rise to the occasion. But holy shit, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh, it's
What was it? Oh, sorry, what was it like? So yeah, it's just a great memory, but I didn't feel anything other than just like, holy shit, this is a great show.